Hey, there's all the announcements up there.
For those of you that might be interested or not interested in the dinner theater because you think you're going to have to act, you
Don't believe it.
don't believe it, because all this is a choir. Literally, there's going to be a choir in the middle of the stage, and you'll sit there, and then you'll stand up and sing a song, and then you'll sit back down. So, if you are led to do so.
Today, it's at 3:30, if you are coming today.
Yeah, it's 3:30 today.
3:30. That's what I said.
Yeah, I said that too when he sent the notice to me.
I hope
this
they're going to
morning.
be through by prayer group.
So anyway, you see all of those up there. So
Did,
the church business meeting.
hold on a minute. Oh, there's a church. Go ahead.
Well, I just.
It's a budget meeting.
It's a budget meeting, so it would behoove you to be there if you want to know where your money going.
So yeah. So let me say this. We'll try this year. It would really behoove you to be there, but that don't mean y'all are going to come. So.
If you're interested, and you should be interested.
Well, you'd be surprised when he does a budget meeting how many people don't show up.
I know.
It's amazing.
Very few people show up.
And I appreciate you, Alan, sending out this prayer request, because I forgot about his surgery until I read it.
Who's that? Alan?
Alan,
So I appreciate that.
we're trying to keep it updated. It's a chore.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Well, it's not because we got one for here, we got one for the prayer group, and we're just trying to keep them all up. But anyway,
And we're doing our best to take the one that's in here and not be 4 or 5 pages like the prayer group one
the prayer
is.
group was about 5 pages long.
That's an exaggeration.
Yeah, but
That's because we keep reducing the print size.
so anyway, the other thing is, don't forget about the potluck, pitching, whatever you want to call it. There is this year. There is an electronic sign up. You go online. There's a code you can scan.
We ran out of food last year.
Huh?
Did
We
we?
ran out of food. They had to go
Yeah.
get pizza and
So-
chicken last year.
This year they're keeping tabs on what is supposed to show up. So go online and sign up for what you want to bring, so that they have count of what food's coming in. On the outside chance that we don't bring enough food, we can go get some.
It doesn't say that up there, but he did add it to there.
Yeah, there's
right here.
a code, scan code on the bulletin where you can sign up for what you're bringing in.
I've learned how to do that tonight. Now I'm glad to do that. It makes it easier. I can sign in, say I'm not bringing anything, then they know, right?
Well, yeah, at least they know not to expect it. Okay, here's the list of the prayer requests. I'm assuming Kim and Billy are both gone.
That's right.
Kim left first, Billy left after that. Kim went up with her sister.
And she's very sick.
I'm sorry,
Kim is very sick.
Kim is?
Kim sick?
It's Kim that's sick?
Is she,
In North Carolina.
she's sick in North Carolina. Ow.
Oh, man.
Well, Kim's health is not that fantastic, and she's probably run herself to death. So,
This,
Alan, you can take Jamie off of there.
oh, okay. Dude was here last Sunday. I asked him, said she was doing better.
Yeah.
Did you still any update on your brother-in-law?
He's not getting out of bed
Mm.
and he's not eating a lot. But he's got his mind and he'll laugh and talk and go to,
The last I heard, when Donna Jones, that she went home, but she had a little problem, went to the emergency room. They got it all worked out, and she's doing. The last I heard, doing okay, doing well.
she's doing well after that.
Alan, you don't have to put it up there, but my niece Amanda Johnson in Loughborough, they are going through a divorce, and they've got 4 children.
Who's this?
Donna's oldest daughter, and
Name.
it
Name.
came out of left field. It was so unexpected. So
What's her name?
Her name is Amanda.
Amanda.
Amanda Loughborough, and it's the littles. Well, they're 5th grade and 6th grade, so they're the ones who are having a really hard time.
Billy is with his parents because she's in the hospital. They lost their caretaker. She has lung cancer. and then they have to find a new caretaker and take care of his parents. So, and later this week, he'll be going to North Carolina.
Oh, my goodness.
I hadn't heard that. You heard that? You said Billy's parents are real sick?
Billy's mom is in the hospital. He went to get some arrangements for him because their caretaker now has lung cancer and they have to find someone to take care of them.
Hmm.
We could take Lois off that,
Okay.
although she's always struggling, but she's home from rehab, so that's good.
Okay. Cowboy?
Yes, my brother's back in the hospital with his heart. What's wrong, they don't really know, we can run some tests on him and say, put him on the prayer list, please.
What's his name?
His name's Ronald.
Okay.
Ronald Lindsay.
I think we have him on the other.
Yes.
Just continue to pray for my friend Barb and her husband Skip. She's in hospice. She's very weak, but she's hanging in there, so.
Barb? You said
Barbara Skip, Barbara Davis. And,
Barbara something?
Davis.
Davis, yes. And, then my niece's cousin on the other, anyway, Joyce, she went into a coma about 3 weeks ago, and she was in a ventilator. She was taken out, and as of Wednesday, my niece texted me. She's back on the ventilator. Her kidneys are failing. Her lungs are not, and she's a young lady. She's in her early 40s.
Oh, wow.
They don't know what caused it. She just passed out.
Wow.
Did you give her a name?
I got niece Joyce.
Okay.
Eddie is still home with a feeding tube and not eating. Shirley said he looks like skin and bone already.
God.
He's got it in his head that he don't need to eat very much.
Hmm.
So she may have to up the meals with the feeding tube.
Rusty?
Joyce really struggling after the stroke. Her balance is bad, her memory's bad. Today she just couldn't make it this morning.
Larry, did you raise your hand?
Yes. Back in February, we prayed for a friend of mine's brother that's in Pennsylvania. He'd had 3 strokes. He had a brain bleed. He had open heart surgery. He's 52 years old. While he was in the hospital in recovery, he has a business with his sons. It's a tree service. His son fell 65 feet to the ground and was killed. And this is, and he's already lost one son. I don't remember how he passed away, but I checked on him. I checked with my friend yesterday to see how his brother's doing. He said he's not doing well at all. And
We have a name, Larry?
His name is Fred, and his last name is E-B-B-E-C-K-E.
EBB?
E-B-B.
E-C-K.
E-C-K-E.
The Beck? The Beck? That's what I did. Is he from Louisiana?
Probably.
Okay. I've done crossed that Sabian River so many times in the last couple of months, I'm beginning to remember how to pronounce their last names. I think G-E-A-U-X is go. I had to remember, I had to think on that one.
Fido, P-H-I-D-E-A-U-X.
What?
Fido, P-H-I-D-E-A-U-X.
Stop.
Mr. Mims, your shoulder's good?
Yeah, you can take me off and put Mary on. That's it. The only thing you can do for yourself is stand up. Everything else, she's involved.
That's true.
Mary?
You're not lying there, Ellen.
Mary, we stopped, and I was so busy laughing and saying something about it, I should have stopped and asked her. We went to eat yesterday evening on the way home, Cracker Barrel. And this lady comes walking out, and let me just say this, she's about your Daphne's height. Maybe not that tall. But she had right on a t-shirt said, I might be short, but I'm bad. I'm going like, man, where do you get that t-shirt at? Patricia. I thought about every one of y'all when I saw that shirt. Oh man. Yeah, y'all are like that until we need something real bad. If we can't do it right, Alex, we have to have that help. Oh man.
Y'all keep Joanne in your prayers. We go Tuesday to have a scan to find out if the treatments are doing anything or not. So she's just a little bit anxious right now.
How's she doing?
Overall she's doing well.
She's doing okay.
She
really
has her
Right.
moments where, like this morning, she got up and looked at me and went, nope. I mean, she just has those moments
Right.
where she can't go, and then like last night she went and did the doormat thing, and by the time she got home she was just exhausted.
Right.
So exhaustion is the biggest thing right now.
Gotta pray for our country.
Amen.
Yep.
She's gonna be something else.
And then we gotta pray for Wednesday regardless which way it goes. Wednesday's gonna be a bad day, regardless.
You really believe they're going to have all the votes counted by Wednesday?
No, I don't. I don't.
That's why it's gonna be bad.
I haven't thought about that. They might want to hurry up and count them
Yeah.
because there's getting to be plenty of lawsuits about the cheating that's going on. Anyway.
Anyway,
Well, there was just a Houston policeman where I get my hair done telling, the lady who does my hair, she says, have y'all heard anything about on Wednesday yet? He says, yeah, the chief of police has already told us we're all on standby. So, maybe that won't happen here. I
We've
don't know.
already had them at the vote.
Cowboy, why don't you pray for us?
Well, we come to you this morning, thankful that we could be here. We ask you to put your hands of healing on all those that are on our list. Lord, we ask you to be with us come Tuesday, come Wednesday, have some stability about everybody. There's gonna be a winner and there's gonna be a loser.
Yep.
You know who it's gonna be already, but Lord, just give us some patience. Give the other guys some patience. We got to live together regardless of what happens. But we just ask that you put your word preaching out today. And once again, we thank you for everything you do for us, things you're going to do for us. In His name we pray, amen.
So, the first few verses that we're going to read are in chapter 27 of Genesis. Chapter 27 Genesis. Larry, you want to help them?
Sorry?
You want to help them?
No. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. Chapter 27, verse 35. You know, I need to get me some hearing aids, but I'm thinking more and more about it. I don't think I want them. I still hear more than I want to hear. Oh. Okay, so it said, chapter 27, it says start in verse 35. I'm going to start in verse 34. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great exceeding bitter cry. And he said to his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, it is not he rightly named Jacob, for he hath supplemented me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, he has taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said to him, Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants with corn and wine, and have I sustained him, and he shall do now unto thee, my son. In verse 41, we jump to verse 41, skip all the other verses. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. I don't really know what that first part means, but he's stinking mad that he's fixing to go kill Jacob. And
That's why Jacob flees. That's why Jacob flees.
Well, he flees because Rebecca told him to.
Well, yeah, because Esau's gonna kill her.
This lesson was weird because it left out all kinds of stuff, and it's just assuming that you know the story.
And they left out so much, you can't go back and read it all. And so everybody that knows anything about the story of Jacob, I kind of just a quick review, and if I leave something out, that's fine. Y'all can kick me later. Somewhere at this point, right now, Jacob has left the scene, and he's scared to death because he thinks his brother's going to kill him. His brother said he's going to kill him. His mother's warned him. He's ran. Okay. One of the things about it in this day and time, if you just take this day and time, and Esau says, well, give me a blessing. Would that just be the easiest thing to do? Well, he can't.
I know, why is that?
That is tradition. Tradition says that the oldest brother gets a double portion of everything, and what's left over goes to the rest of them.
That's right.
But here's the thing: prior to Isaac giving Jacob that blessing, Jacob connived Esau out of his birthright.
That's right.
So he gave up his birthright. I mean, and his dad alludes to that. Now he's lost his blessing, which his father can't do, because the blessing he said he's given his word says, all of this is yours. He can't take it back. So what do we need to remember mostly about all of this? God's in control all the time.
Why? Because I had to go dig for this a little bit, but why did God say Jacob was going to get the blessing instead of the elder son?
Because Isaac had already gave it to him.
No, he hadn't.
He had.
When God said that the younger would rule over the elder,
Oh,
was before all that. Why did he do that?
because he knew he's God.
I was thinking the same thing, because he knew how it would turn out.
Well, I mean, it works, but it's he wasn't living like a godly man.
No, he wasn't.
He had taken 2 heathen wives. He wasn't acting anything like what he wanted to act. God knew what he was doing, and he told him beforehand.
When he came out.
Yeah,
So his brothers.
the younger will rule over the elder.
Right.
Isaac forgot that, or ignored it, one or the other. Rebecca didn't trust the Lord, so she was going to make it happen. This is a weird.
Sounds like a soap opera.
It's just like a biblical soap opera.
Do you have how many? Why don't we read all the verses?
Let's just get them all out of the way. That didn't come out right.
It sounded like I feel.
You were trying to say if we read them all, maybe we'll understand the story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men.
Let's just fast forward to that.
Yeah.
Forget everything else.
Let's just forget everything else that happened. Now, this is 20 some odd years later. And he divided the children unto Leah and unto Rachel and unto the 2 handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost.
Just in case you don't understand, he put Leah's children at the front of the line.
Because he thought Esau was going to wipe them all out.
That's
so
right.
he wanted an opportunity to be able to run. And he passed over them before, and he bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. What's the significance of
Hold
7
on,
times?
just read the rest of it.
Oh.
Read all the other verses.
And he said, what meanest thou by all this drove which I met? And he said, these are to find grace in thy sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that thou hast unto thyself. And Jacob said, nay, I pray thee, If now I have found grace in thy sight, then receiveth my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it.
Where are you right now?
That was, that jumped over to, chapter
Oh, I'm
33.
sorry, that was
Chapter 33. Chapter 33, one.
Should have been in your book.
My Bible said, that doesn't say that.
Chapter 33, 1 through 4, and then I think 8 through 11.
That's why I say this thing's jumping all over the place.
So
That's
let's,
why I put it up there.
Okay, thank you.
so let me jump in. So here's what I'm thinking while Brad was reading. So I like to watch the show Blue Bloods, okay? So it's like every show. No, it's not as bad as every show on TV. It's a little bit
No, it's a
better
little
than
bit
most of
better.
them. But when you watch that show, like last night, I watched the recording. Every single member of the family's got something going on in that show.
Yep.
There's like 5 stories within the story. So there's about 150 stories within this story right here. And the thing is so what did Jacob do? Jacob deceived his brother. He deceived his father. He deceived everybody. How did Jacob get married? Anybody remember?
Oh, yeah, he worked 7 years
For who?
For
Well,
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Labram, yeah. And so then he gave him Leah instead of Rachel. And so he had to work another 7 years to get Rachel.
So what happened there?
He got
It was
flim-flam
deceived. He was
He got
deceived.
deceived. The very same thing.
that he did.
Yeah.
He was still God's
Rebecca got
choice.
Right.
But that didn't mean he didn't have to pay for his sin.
There's too many actors in this story.
Yes.
So he works 14 years, the second 7 to get the one he really wanted. But now he has 2 wives.
Yeah.
Leah
That
and
part about it, he really didn't love Leah. He loved
well, he had Leah and he had Rachel. And if you move on down the road into the story, that I don't know that I've ever paid attention to it before. Not I don't remember it. But not only did he have children with Leah, Rachel, he also had children with their 2 servants.
Yeah, that's
So I think he ended up with 12 boys, right?
Yeah.
So that deal that Brad read to you a minute ago, he put Leah and them other people up in the front. So if anybody going to get killed, it'd be them. It's going to be them first. Who did he put at the very back of the line?
Rachel and himself.
Him and Rachel.
Who? And who? Joseph. Who's Joseph?
The guy that ruled over the famine.
And who was his brothers? The ones that
one
got
that
put in
put
front of the line?
No, that put him in front of, yeah.
Now make that connection. I knew that they didn't like him, but there's a good reason not to like him right there.
Who was Joseph's mother? Yeah. Did she bear any of the other ones?
Mhm. Oh, that's right. He's an only child.
Joseph is the only child between.
No, I thought she had Benjamin.
Nope.
No, she didn't have Benjamin?
I don't know. That sounds familiar. But
Because remember when
Benjamin.
he put the money in that pack and he says, bring my father and the youngest Benjamin. So I just figured it was Rachel's. Must be wrong.
I don't know, Becky. I have to
I'll have to
look
look
that
back-
up
have to
because
look
what
at it and
I
see.
got when I studied, I thought Joseph was the only one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
Me too.
That's a good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one. So at the end of the day, we're talking about Joseph. Everybody knows the story of Joseph. At the end of the day, what happens? At the end of the day, there's a reconciliation with the whole family. The whole family. Okay, and so I thought about 3 things. What did it say that so we can do the whole thing. Jacob's approaching his brother Esau, who's got 400 men. All he's worried about, instead of listening to what God told him, like whatever, I believe in the struggle. Y'all don't hold me to this because it's what I'm going to have to look up because I just thought about it this morning. I believe in the struggle prior to the meeting with Esau. Jacob's been renamed. God's talked to him. God's blessed him. He's wrestled with God. Y'all remember that? He's wrestled with God. So all of this takes place, and what does he do? He reverts back to Jacob again, and he's scared to death of his brother. He puts all his kids in the front. He sends them all kind of gifts ahead of time. And what does Esau do? As soon as he sees Jacob, what does Esau do?
They embraced each other.
What do you?
He goes running to him.
goes running to him and does what?
Embraces him
And-
and kisses him on the neck.
And kisses him on the neck. Does that story sound familiar to anybody? Prodigal son. Same thing. Same. The story with Joseph, the same thing. The story with Esau and Jacob, the same thing. The sad part about it, me and Brad was talking about earlier, the best I can get out of Wearsby on this thing is it didn't matter what Esau said to him at that time, he was still scared to death of him. In other words, he was not trusting God.
Why did the reconciliation find, who was responsible that the reconciliation happened?
God, actually.
Well, God actually, but it was Esau.
Was you right?
Well, yeah, because
Esau had the change of heart. We don't know why, but he did. He was going to kill him. He was so mad, he was ready. He'd have killed him right then if he could have got away with
He
it.
got his hands on him.
If he could have got
And
his
his
hands
dad
on
too.
him. Yeah, probably his dad too. Somewhere over the course of those 20-something years, Esau had a change of heart.
Well, God had blessed him as abundantly too.
That's
So maybe over time,
The-
I mean, God was still with
who
him.
is that?
The other blessing that
Who's that
was
back there
given
talking?
was Isaac did bless Esau.
yeah, because
He blessed him. He couldn't bless him with the same things he blessed as the other one
Right.
with, but he did bless him. And one of the things that he blessed him with was, at some point in time, this yoke will be removed from you.
Right.
So at some point in time, because Esau had a change of heart, when he had the change of heart, the yoke was removed. It was because Esau had his change of heart that the reconciliation didn't turn into a bloodbath instead of a reconciliation.
Uh,
well, then that thing about Rachel, Karen's Bible showed it, and it says, and when she was having great difficulty in childbirth, a midwife said to her, "Don't despair, you have another son." As she breathed her last breath, for her days, for she was dying, she named her son Benoniah, but his father came to call him Benjamin, so he was.
well, yeah, as soon as Becky said that, I remember that because he's the littlest one. And I think Joseph, when they don't really know who he is yet, when his brothers don't know who he is yet, they had not brought Benjamin with
No,
them.
they did not.
And
because
so he
the
said,
father was dead.
I want you to go back, and I think he said, and bring your youngest brother with you. So he might have called him by name. He might have called him by name.
Else, yeah.
The point that Gwen made a minute ago, I thought about that too when she said it. I don't remember ever studying this before, and it reminded me of the story of the prodigal son for sure. That's the first thing I thought about. But the difference in that story and the other story, Gwen's point is God had blessed Esau too. And I don't know that he ever said he wasn't going to. It was God's plan for it to happen exactly how it happened, okay? But the thing about it is if that's the reason why, Esau even tells him, I don't need all that. All that stuff that you sent me, I don't need it. Now, if y'all know tradition, that's kind of like not a good thing to say, hey, I want to give you this. No, I don't want it. Yeah, I don't want it. You know, it's like he said, and he doesn't say, I don't want it. He just says, I don't need it. God's provided for me. I think he said God provided for him. He had a lot. He had a lot. But Jacob, being Jacob's like, no, he just insisted that he takes it. So he took it. Esau even offers to go in front of them to lead the way. Because he realizes that Jacob's family is very young. A lot of women and children. He said, let me go front. Let me go forward, you know. And what Wearsby said and what the lesson said, all Jacob wanted to do was get away from his brother, period. And so when I read it, I can't remember who went which way, but Esau went one way and Jacob went the complete opposite direction. And to Wearsby's point, right there at that point of the discussion, it's not sure that they ever met again, ever even talked again. As far as Jacob, even to his mother, I'm not real sure. It's like Jacob just left the scene. Okay.
I think I read somewhere where she never saw him again.
Me too. I read the same thing, but that's kind of like you got to get into. Instead of the commentaries, you got to get into it just a little bit because I thought Joseph was the only one that Rachel had, but as soon as Becky said it, I thought, wait a minute, that's right, it's Benjamin. I wasn't sure, but it,
You know,
The
you,
thing about Jacob, he was not a good person.
He was not a good
he
well,
person.
that's the point I was
honest,
fixing to make.
And then when he had that battle with God, you know, in his dream, then he came back a different person, because then he was called Israel, he was no longer called Jacob.
Well, the thing is, and I was gonna bring this up, the cherry picking of the verses is what kills
It's
this
hard.
story, because the whole time Jacob is getting close to going back home and running into Esau, God's with him. He sees a host of angels. There's two camps. There's a camp for him and there's a camp for the angels. And the whole time God's with him, he knows it, but he still don't trust.
God.
He don't trust God. He's still instead of accepting and going out and meeting his brother, he put all the women and children in front of him.
I think another good example is, and here we go again. So all of this starts because Esau was the eldest. He should have got the blessing. He should have got the double portion. He didn't. God planned it that away. When he sent, when they went to pick a king for Israel, and they went to Jesse, and who went? I'm trying to think of the prophet.
It was,
Who? Samuel, thank you. Samuel went looking for him, and his dad, Jesse, brings out all the sons except for David. He says, Samuel says, "Is this all you got?" Basically. And it's something about that. It said, the Lord looked at him and said, there's another. Basically said, there's another one. Go get the other one. Oh, it's David. He's ready. You won't want him. God don't look at he don't look at the outside. He looks at the inside. Esau didn't get picked. God saw to that. David did get picked, but he was the least. He wasn't the eldest. That should have been the eldest, but it wasn't. That was the second king. I think David was the second king. The first king was Saul, and they picked him because of why? He was head and shoulders above every other person. He was good to look at, but he wasn't any good at all. That was the outside thing. He looked at the inside and he picked David. So you got a whole run of God doing the non-traditional that everybody thinks that he ought to be doing, but he don't think the way that we think.
That's just like,
God can use anybody.
that's just like us, when we know God is speaking to us, we know God has given us a promise, we just feel like we have to help him. And we always mess up when we help, or I do, mess up when I help him. He didn't need my help.
So we don't have we have a little bit of more time left. Did everybody that looked at the lesson, did they notice the picture of the family?
Yeah.
Does everybody know who that is?
No.
The
You didn't know who that was?
Cleavers. Who didn't know who that was?
Oh, Beaver Cleaver. My God.
Becky, that's an old picture. That's even older than we might be right there. Because I don't remember them ever looking like that.
I
But
knew when they would get up to go do something special, I remember that. And she always walked around cooking in her dress. I'll never forget. I never forget that.
A shirtwaist dress.
Yep.
and wearing I think she also wore heels also.
Yes, at the table with a suit.
So you look at this family, and that was the model family back then. Oh boy, they wouldn't make it today at all.
No.
They would not make it today. So the whole point of the lesson, and almost every single solitary thing that you see, like with Jacob and Esau, with Joseph and his brothers and his father, just so on and so forth. Every story seems to be a story of reconciliation. And the thing about it is the whole problem started with mom and dad. Mom deceiving dad, bringing her son in on it. Dad basically not paying attention when she should be paying attention. He's doing the same thing. Mom favors Jacob, dad favors Esau. It's plain to see, it's plainly said. We read it in the lessons. It all starts right there. The thing about it is, what do you do about it? So, how close are we getting to Thanksgiving? And how many people out there have the same kind of problems going on in their life that we see in the Bible every single day, and they still separate themselves. They don't get along with each other. And that's, believe you me, I've been around long enough to know right now that you will regret those things that you don't get taken care of. I promise you. For one way or the other, if there's problems between you and family or dear friends, and you don't resolve them quickly, at the age that I'm at right now, some of those dear friends are not with us anymore.
That's right.
And
Then it's too
don't
late.
don't miss your opportunity to make that reconciliation with that person. That doesn't always. I feel like everything I saw in the lesson, when it said that Esau ran to him and threw his arms around his neck and began to kiss him, instant prodigal son moment. The only difference is the really bad character in the prodigal son story is who? The oldest brother. Oldest brother, because he's sitting out on the back patio, moaning and groaning and pouting. And it never said that he got over it.
No.
Never said.
Never did.
He was miserable, and he was miserable because of what? He could not forgive what his brother did. Why? Because he felt like his brother had taken something from him. Vicky, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you all know that the funeral that I went to a couple weeks ago, my nephew, we had a falling out with his father years ago. Years ago. And he had really held a grudge for a lot of years. And wouldn't even speak to us, wouldn't come around us or speak to us. And of course, then Jerry and I divorced, and so I lost all contact with him. So going into his funeral, I really wasn't sure how I would be received. And my ex-sister-in-law, she grabbed me and hugged me, no problem, because she and I had always been very close, raising our children together. And when I went up to shake it, I went up to him, and I looked at him, and he just looked at me. So I just reached out my hand to shake his hand, and he shook my hand. And I thought, okay, well, this is how it's going to be. Okay, you know. And so I started to walk away, and about that time my daughter came up. Then I guess he clicked, and he grabbed us both, and he hugged us.
Mm.
And he told us, he whispered in our ears, he goes, "This is the hardest thing I've ever done." And of course, we told him, we're here, we're here for you. And so I went on back to my seat, and then he came up to me and he said, "I'm so sorry, I really didn't recognize you." He said, "I'm so sorry at first that I did not recognize you." So it took a lot of years, but we're not compelled or anything, but at least I know that when I see them again, that there's not that, nothing between us.
Right.
So that was one good thing. And
You'll find out in today's sermon, humility plays a real big part in this and other things. So, and that's what happened. Esau, for whatever reason, Esau had a change of heart, and he was willing to let it go, and he proved it by running up and grabbing his brother and hugging him. Forgiveness.
Go ahead. I'm Googling something.
You're going to the Google?
Alan did it a minute ago.
Yeah.
They did, help me.
Well, yeah, it's just, anytime there's conflict, I'll say this, 9 out of 10 times maybe, both parties are involved.
That's right. Over stupid.
Somehow,
Over what, Becky?
somehow.
Over stupid.
Do what?
Feelings getting hurt.
Whatever it is.
whatever.
So it's not that one should forgive the other, or both should. I mean, it's got to be, you've got to put your pride in the back seat.
That's why you cannot negate the Bible, because the behavior of the people in the Old Testament is the United States right now in America. This is exactly, we are the same. We didn't learn any better than they did, because we keep repeating the same things.
It's not just us right now. It's been us since this was written. I mean, it's just, no matter what story you read, there's peaks and valleys. They get up good with God and everything's good, and then they get complacent and get away from God and everything gets bad, and then they get right with God again and it goes back up on top of the mountain. And it's
So if you put
just,
things before God, that's when you lose your fellowship, is when you put other things before God.
so it's just, I mean, sin nature causes a lot of it. What'd you Google?
So, I thought, because Vicki made me think of it, I always throw this out there, and I never can remember. There's a verse in the Bible, and right now it's showing me Ecclesiastes 7:2. I actually thought it was in Psalms, but it says, and I'm going to paraphrase for y'all, okay, so I can say it the way I need to say it. It says it's always good to go to the house of mourning. So the Bible does not contradict itself. If it does anything at all, it just follows up with more and more background. It's like, I don't know where I was at when I said this. It says that there's a verse in the Bible, put your hand in the plow, don't look backwards. That's something else. That's talking about moving forward. And that verse says it's good to go back to the house of mourning. You know why? Because it makes you reflect on the things that you've done in the past. It brings those memory up. That ex-brother-in-law, I guess, I can't remember what you said. It happened to him. He's thinking about it. It's like, what's sad about it is you might have something like that. You say, what was it we were fighting about? Because we don't even remember. But the grudge is there. It's the thought. And I read that verse. Vicki said that, and I read that verse. It's good to us to go back because it makes us reflect and say, why am I still doing this? Why did I do that?
The old saying is, those that ignore their past are doomed to repeat it.
That's true too.
You've got to know where you came from. And the other part of looking back, it lets you reflect on how far you've came since whatever that situation was you're looking back on. It's not to look back on and go, oh, I really like that, I need to go back to that. You don't want to go backwards, but it's to remember.
I kind of like what Vicki threw in there. I mean, it's not like we're pen pals, but the thing about it is there was some resolution there, and you think, hey, but you know what? It's not as bad as we thought it was, or it's not as bad as I thought it was. And then it's one of them kind of deals like, what was we even fighting about? I don't know. I mean,
Ecclesiastes 7:2. Ecclesiastes 7:2.
Right, that's what I had. I thought for whatever reason, I thought it was in Psalms, and of course, I have it in my mind the way I have it in my mind, so that didn't read quite the way I had it in my mind. So
imagine that.
It must be wrong. Don't strike me. I was joking. You know I was joking. That is a good verse to reflect on. But also let you know that, hey, your days are numbered. You might want to get your act together. You're welcome. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Some of the numbers are not as great. We don't have that many numbers left, I don't think. I don't. Hey, Brother Mark, why don't you close us, please, sir?
My Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you for another opportunity to come to your house, Lord. Lord, I thank you for my Sunday school group, Lord. I pray you just continue to be with us, Lord. I pray for all the prayer requests. I pray for my pastor, Lord. I pray you just fill him up with the words that you want us to hear today, Lord. And I ask all this in Jesus'